I used to wonder about that myself. Thought it was a bunch of mumbo-jumbo. A magical power holding together good and evil. The dark side and the light. Crazy thing is, it's true. The Force, the Jedi, the Nerdthusiast podcast. All of it. It's all true. Welcome to Nerdthusiast podcast. I am your co-host, Richard Eiley, here with my co-host, Matthew Morosi.
The greatest teacher failure is.
That's true. It's a good quote, and it's true.
It's a good quote from a great movie.
No, stop that. No, don't give him hope. Someone's watching this who loves Last Jedi, and they're like, "Oh, this guy different, likes Last Jedi, very cool." And you're gonna dash his hopes across the rocks.
You'll have to wait and see.
Welcome, guys, to a B-Sides. I'm actually oddly excited about this episode. I think we're gonna get into some exciting stuff.
We'll get down in that nitty gritty.
Yeah. It's gonna get nitty gritty for sure. Star Wars B-Sides. We've continued. We've been on a journey, Matt. You and I.
It's been quite a journey.
Quite a journey. We've watched every Star Wars film together.
Every mainline Star Wars.
Every mainline Star Wars. And the spin-offs,
I guess the spin-offs as well.
It's all the major films.
And
yeah,
we both watched The Mandalorian's first 2 episodes.
We're going to talk about that today, too. But this is like the culmination, the final episode before we do our episode 9 spoiler cast, which will be in a few weeks whenever that movie comes out.
Yep, we already got our tickets, so it's just a matter of time.
We have our tickets. We're ready to go. We're excited.
And then after that movie, we will re-rank them all since we just got done watching them all.
We'll probably do that in the same episode we were saying as the episode 9 spoiler
It'll be like
cast.
the back half of 9. We'll go back and re-rank just to do it all, you know, in a coherent fashion.
Yeah. And we're getting pretty over the Star Wars episodes of B-Sides,
too. We've gone through a lot of them.
We've done a lot of them, so we're ready.
We're going to move on to new things soon.
We're excited about that. But we're going to end it right now with episodes 7 and 8. We went through those, and then, we're going to talk about some Mandalorian too. But before we do any of that, the Star Wars Inclination Proclamation is a game we must play, right?
It is a game.
And we must play it. And we made it. Matt made it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I added a question.
Richard did. And we'll get to that question.
So, Matt, these are questions that you throw at me. You already answered them. I'm going to give you my answers to them.
Yes. Now most of the time, these questions have no context. As I've stated, there's no context to the question.
They always have context.
However, to mix it up, a couple of them have context. And I'll give you that context today only on this episode.
Are you going to tell them which ones have context?
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool. I don't know. I'm excited to find out what you think context means. Is what I'm looking forward to seeing. But I'm
childlike brain will wow you with the context.
I'm excited. I'm ready for this game.
Well, let's jump in then.
Let's do it.
We're going to start with some ships.
Okay.
The Supremacy with a Dreadnought.
Okay, Supremacy is Snoke's big long ship. The Dreadnought, which one's the Dreadnought?
The Dreadnought is in the beginning of episode 8.
Episode 8?
Yeah. It's that
big, like,
long one.
Yes,
yeah,
the one they bomb.
The
okay.
bombed one.
The Supremacy.
Supremacy.
It's longer.
That's what you go with. It's longer, so Richard is down with whatever's longer.
That's all I care about in a ship or other things. Longer, better. Good.
All right, let's get serious.
Okay, I was serious before, but sure.
Hux or Holdo?
Oh, gosh. Hux.
Right.
General Hux.
Oh, and for context, when we're done, I'll go back through and I'll let you guys know what I picked, and then we'll kind of compare which we picked the same and which we picked different. Now, this is Richard's question that he submitted for this one.
This is an important question.
This is regarding the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Is it Baby Yoda or Yoda Baby?
There is a right answer to this question. And the right answer is my answer, which is Yoda Baby. I can't wait to have a discussion about this when we go through these.
Kylo or Rey?
Ooh, good question, Matt. That's a good question.
It is a very good question. Some of these are some dingers this time.
That's my favorite question that you've ever asked. I think because
really?
For me, they are as equal footing as two characters can be.
That's what I try to. I try to try to keep them on the same level.
Especially if you're looking at only episode 7. For me though, it's Kylo Ren.
All right.
Mask. Big fan of that mask.
Let's keep it going with these hard questions. Finn or Poe?
I thought it was easy.
It's not.
I thought it was easy.
It took me a while.
But it's not.
Now I'm making him think this time.
Dang-a-lang. I love them both so much. I have a Poe jacket, which Finn wears primarily.
Still complicating things.
Poe is so cool, but Finn is also so cool. And he loves his friends so much, and that means so much to me. I'm going to ignore episode 8 and just only look at episode 7, which would lead me to say Finn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of questions 4 and 5, who do you pick? So, Richard, you picked Kylo or Finn?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo. Okay.
Ren. Yeah. Love Kylo.
All
true hero of the franchise, as we'll see in episode 9 when he redeems himself and saves the galaxy.
We're going to continue with the hard questions, Richard. Wow. We're not done.
What?
This is hard just because if it depends on which context you put onto these.
Okay.
R2-D2 or BB-8?
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
It should be instant, but it's not.
Because it's episodes 7 and 8. R2-D2 is a shit. Like, he's not even in the movies. He's so ancillary. BB-8. BB-8, man. Let BB-8 have a win. What a great droid he is.
Are you ready for some context?
Okay. I'm ready to find out what context is.
Being equally as useless.
Oh.
DJ or Master Codebreaker, the Justin Theroux character.
Oh, who's
being equally as useless?
Yeah.
DJ or Master Codebreaker?
Who's DJ? Oh, is DJ the fake Codebreaker? Yes. I was like, who the fuck is...
That's DJ.
Am I picking which one is more useless?
That's my context.
You're just saying they are equally useless.
I'm saying they're equally useless, but which...
So your context is just you saying something before? Okay. All right. I pick Justin Theroux's character. I was excited to see who that character was. And
that's the Master Codebreaker.
Master Codebreaker, yes.
Okay. Speaking of uselessness.
Yes.
Captain Phasma or Snoke?
Man, these are two fucking embarrassing characters. You know what? I think they're gonna make Snoke out to be somehow cool in episode 9, and I think Captain Phasma will always be another Boba Fett. So I'm gonna pick Snoke.
So you think Snoke is more useless?
Oh wait, that's what I'm picking?
Isn't it?
I don't. What the fuck kind of
context
funhouse game are we playing right now?
Who's more useless, Snoke or Phasma?
What was the last question?
Same thing.
Oh, the more useless is DJ then.
Okay.
Change my answer. I didn't know that's what. Okay, all right, got it. I thought you were just saying.
I was, but it's
okay. Fine. Got it. Yeah, more.
So Phasma.
DJ's more useless, and then Phasma's more useless. Yeah.
You retconned that.
Jeez, that was dangerous.
Now my favorite question.
Okay.
Who is more thirsty, Maz Kanata for Chewie, or Luke for that Thal Siren milk, or the Thala Siren's milk? Who's more thirsty?
Who's more thirsty? Man. Luke looked pretty thirsty. He was sucking down that milk pretty hard.
Oh, what a scene. Jesus Christ.
So stupid. I love
how much thought you're putting into this.
Well, what it is like Luke was definitely more thirsty without a doubt, but I don't want to accept that as the answer. I don't want that to be my reality where I think Luke was more thirsty than Maz Kanata was for Chewie. So Maz Kanata for Chewie, even though that's not what I believe. These are good questions this week. I'm really happy with these.
I'm very happy we did this because we almost decided not to do it. Yeah. For tradition we had to.
Yeah, I'm glad we followed through.
So let's compare and do a quick rundown.
Let's do it.
Supremacy or Dreadnought? You said Supremacy, I said Dreadnought. Supremacy went down like a bitch.
What do you mean?
Hux or Holdo?
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely Hux. Both went Hux.
I don't think anyone's going to pick Holdo unless you're a stupid idiot.
Baby Yoda or Yoda Baby? Clearly we know something's wrong with Richard, so I went with Baby Yoda.
Okay, so here's the thing. You can't call it Baby Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda.
But it's not. We don't know that. Until we know its identity. And if it's Baby Yoda, that means that
Yoda Baby sounds like a pop star.
But it's a Yoda Baby. It's not Yoda Baby. It's a Yoda Baby.
Well, you didn't put that in there.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean, obviously, is what Yoda Baby.
You didn't put that in there.
That's the Yoda Baby.
You can't just say Yoda Baby.
It could be the Yoda Baby, a Yoda Baby. Did you see Yoda Baby? Like, it's so like...
It sounds like you the baby.
Whatever it sounds like, it's more
Yoda
accurate.
Yoda Baby?
Because we don't know the race of Yoda.
Something like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Someone said...
Or like a Spice Girls song.
Someone said on Twitter, because I posited this on Twitter.
Baby.
And I asked, I was like, hey, we should say Yoda baby instead. And someone's like, what if someone's like, yo, da baby?
Right. I agree with that person. That's my first instinct. Whoever said that.
Smart. Shout out to Beardless2 on Twitter. And I see what you're saying, but it's still more accurate. Because if you're saying baby Yoda, you're saying it's Yoda as a baby. And that's not what this
baby
is,
Yoda.
As far as we know.
Finn or Poe? Both went Finn.
Nice. Oh, cool.
Interesting surprise. I went Rey. You went Kylo. Very interesting.
Kylo's cool, dude.
I typically like the bad guys more.
But
I really like Rey.
I think if we didn't include episode 9 and it was just episode 7 only, I think I would have veered toward Rey. But I think Kylo has more of an arc in episode 8. Not a better one necessarily, but more of one.
And then we went between Finn or Kylo for you, or Finn and Rey for me.
Yeah, what'd you pick?
Neither of us picked Finn. I picked Rey. You picked Kylo.
They're main character. They're the central piece, so that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
We both went BB-8 over R2-D2, mainly because he dropped the ball with his timing, which we'll get into later. Which Richard, brought up when we were watching the films. Like, this timing is off, and I completely agree.
Yeah, some map discussion that we'll have in the Final Fantasy in the episode 7 discussion.
Why did they let R2 drop the ball, man?
We'll talk about it.
God.
We'll talk about it. That's Ryan's fault.
So it goes to BB-8 just because of that.
Yeah.
Being equally as useless, DJ or Master Codebreaker?
Okay. Who did you say is more useless?
For context, Master Codebreaker is in there for like a quick scene and he goes away.
Mm-hmm.
DJ, more useless.
I mean,
he was in the fucking film.
He fucks him up, if anything. Like he's
just a useless character.
I hate him. I hate that character.
What stopped them from using the Master Codebreaker from being in the film and they picked DJ instead?
Ryan Johnson thought it'd be cooler.
Somebody thought it'd be cooler.
A stupid idiot. Not someone. Ryan Johnson thought it'd be
a lot
cool.
of uselessness.
Yeah.
Captain Phasma or Snoke?
Yes, more useless.
You said Phasma. I said Snoke.
I mean,
he's without a doubt the biggest waste of time throughout all of Star Wars. He wastes my time more than any other character, and I want him to go away. Maybe. And I'm glad he went away.
Maybe.
No, don't try to retcon that shit. Just keep it away. Just keep it away.
He might be Palpatine's brother.
Phasma's more interesting.
He might be Palpatine. We don't know.
More thirsty, Maz Kanata.
Yeah, what the fuck did you pick on this one? How did your brain create this question is what I want to know. I don't mean this as an offensive thing. You're usually not this creative, so I'm very surprised that I was like, what the hell?
So I saw a picture of the Thala siren or Thala siren, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And its nipples hanging out. And then I happened to see a picture of Maz Kanata like right after it. And I instantly was like, Maz Kanata was thirsty for Chewie. Luke was thirsty for the milk.
Just complex algebraic equations are just going by your head.
He was just like, oh
yeah, he wanted it.
Yeah.
So you said Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly Luke.
I know it is, but I don't want to accept that.
You have to.
It's
the reality they made it be.
I don't want it to be.
Thanks, Disney.
That was a really good Inclination proclamation. I'm happy about that one.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, same. All right, Mandalorian. Shall we talk about it?
Yeah, let's jump in.
First 2 episodes are out on Disney Plus right now. Me and Matt have watched both of them. And fuck, where do we want to start with this? I have some discussion topics that we can get into, but before we do that, Matt, what are your thoughts on Mandalorian?
I think it's good. There's still, still things have to be flushed out. It's very early on, so it's hard to say that this is going to be a great show, this is going to be a bad show, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But from what I got so far, it's good. It's, there's something there. Something interesting is there.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to keep watching it.
Yeah.
So all those things are good things.
It has you right now.
Yeah.
It's got you on the hook.
Yeah. Especially because they introduced like Yoda being 50 years old, but he's still like a baby. They introduced that like in the first episode.
The Yoda baby, yeah. They introduced this Yoda baby.
If you haven't watched this, by the way, spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I'm so sorry. We're spoiling Mandalorian the first 2 episodes, so just be aware. Oops. I'll put in a lower third in.
I did it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. Now, I like that they don't show his face. I'm sure they will at some point or whatever.
Yes.
The thing, look, I'm always more interested in characters when they don't speak, and this character has very little to say.
Yeah.
It's very infrequent that he's speaking.
But there's a lot of like character that's one thing I want to get into, is how well they characterize this person who doesn't have a name and doesn't have a face.
Right.
Like this guy wears a mask the entire show or the entire first 2 episodes, and he doesn't give his name out, so we don't know it. And to build character into someone like this is a huge creative challenge, and I think they nail it. Let me just start and say that this is probably my favorite Star Wars media that I've taken in since Disney bought the brand.
Okay, so you like this more than Rogue One and Solo.
Than Rogue One and Solo, Episode 7. This might be my favorite Star Wars thing from Disney right now. I have to see how it plays out, where it ends up, obviously. But right now, those first 2 episodes had me so in on this universe and this character. So I just want to get that out of the way. But yeah, on the character,
I'm not as high as you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're being cautious, I feel like.
Rightfully so.
Probably. But yeah, the whole him not having a face or like him wearing a mask at all times, I think that's really cool. Little character traits that like I've noticed, like, you know, when he first sees the Yoda baby, obviously he saves it, and that's a big character moment. And just like
that was awesome,
dude. Him putting out his finger to like touch, you know, for it to touch his finger and stuff, like so much in that, because they say early on that he's a foundling, which is like an orphan child.
They have those flashbacks where you show like I guess his family either being taken away or like killed from him or something like that. Like he's obviously been on his own since he was a young kid.
So to see him like immediately connect to this Yoda baby, it was like, I don't know, I just like that a lot. And they just keep bringing that back up throughout like the series and stuff, which is cool. Or throughout these 2 episodes, just him putting his life on the line for the thing and telling them to stay away from, you know, the Jawas in episode 2 to stay away from it.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff like that. And then at the very end of episode 2 with the Yoda baby, where he's like trying to wake it up when it's like asleep.
Oh yeah.
So he shouldn't be doing that. He should let it rest, but he can't help himself. He's trying to wake it up.
Yeah, I think he was just making sure it was okay.
Mm-hmm. And then like he turns back to like pilot the ship, and you can tell that he sees the baby get up, and he kind of like looks like over a little bit and then just goes back. Like he doesn't fully commit to looking. He doesn't want to give away that he cares, but he totally does.
Yeah, definitely.
Really cool. Just very, very well done in terms of giving him some life.
Yeah, they do a good job of making him, you know, show his emotion instead of talking about how he feels.
Yeah. And then another character thing that I noticed was when he's dealing with humans and aliens, he fucks them up. Yeah. Like he has no issues when he walks into like the opening scene where he's like in the bar and he's about to like get, you know, throw down with these like 3 aliens. He doesn't seem at all.
That's when he spilled the guy's drink or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. Quote unquote, spilled his drink. And he has complete control of the situation. And it makes you think like, oh, this guy is someone you do not fuck with. And he never gets caught on the back foot.
Yeah, it was a pretty brutal scene.
Oh, yeah. And then they cut the guy in half, the Qatar or whatever it's called. The guy with the tentacles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool too.
That was awesome.
It was dark, surprisingly dark.
Yeah, I mean, they did a cutaway, so they don't show it to you, but they showed more than you would assume that Disney would show.
It's a slow-mo, like, picking this guy up with the door, and then that sound, very good, visceral, cutting a person in half sound effect. But, so yeah, he's very in control with, like, humans and stuff, but whenever he's, like, dealing with the Jawas, you know, barbaric tribe, or like any monsters fuck him up so hard. Like he has such a clear issue dealing with monsters.
Yeah, obviously.
So I love that.
He's got his ass beat.
I know, but I love that as like a character flaw almost. Like he can understand the predictability of humans and like aliens and civilized species, but when it comes to
like wild creatures, he's like, can't understand.
It gets him on the back foot, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like when he was trying to ride that thing that was supposed, you know, he used like a horse basically. He couldn't tame it at first.
Yeah, and then that dude like bringing up the fact that he's like, "You're a Mandalorian, aren't you? Like your ancestors have like rode dragons, and you're having problems with this little pup." And he's like, "Okay, fuck you."
Which fine.
I'll get. You're all right. Let me get on this. Like that was another cool little moment, harkening back to the fact that he's probably like not a real Mandalorian, but like an orphan.
Yeah.
So I like that stuff. Just a lot of good character stuff in this.
Yeah.
What else? I wanted to talk about like how it expands like the nitty gritty of Star Wars in cool ways. Because I feel like a lot of other stuff focuses too much on like the major scope through like these key characters like Luke Skywalker. You know, it's always about the Skywalkers usually.
Yeah, it's always around them or their family members or, you know, It has something to do with a Skywalker.
Solo was about Han Solo, who was connected to Skywalker in such a big way, and all the things that he went through. Rogue One is about, the Death Star, which is like a thing that,
Right. I mean, it's pretty apparent that it'd be surprising if the name Skywalker pops up anywhere in the series.
Within the series. Do you like, I guess my question is, how do you feel seeing a show that's like about Star Wars, but not focusing almost at all, it seems like, on the main like plot, the prime time slot of Star Wars?
Say that again.
How do you feel about whatchamacallit? Like this show not focusing so much on the main story of Star Wars, like it kind of taking a backseat and being more about this character, the seedy underbelly of the bounty hunting and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It's definitely a better way to go than keeping like a mainline story. I mean, you can't really do a mainline story with this anyways, but it'll definitely expand the universe. There'll be more interesting things to see.
We got to see toilets.
Yeah,
that's the first toilet I've ever seen in Star Wars, man. And I also found out this fucking alien species only takes a shit like once every solstice. That alien guy, the blue alien guy? What is this? Oh, okay. All right, let's pause this. And, little cut there. Sorry, we're back. So yeah, the small scale focus of it is really cool. Seeing the Mandalorians. What do you know about Mandalorians?
Very little.
Yeah? You know that they're armor? Do you know Mandalorian armor?
I know it's cool.
You know what a Mandalorian armor looks like, right? The face mask or whatever.
Yes, well,
Boba Fett and Jango.
The bounty hunters have them.
Yeah, exactly. So really cool to just see.
So yes. I do have a question because I don't even know this.
Of course.
Are all bounty hunters Mandalorians, or only some bounty hunters are Mandalorians?
No. Generally, so Mandalorians have a complex history through Star Wars. Like I think they started as like a warrior race. And they were just badass warriors that would had an empire, almost like a Roman empire, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then leading up to, I think there was a massive culling of them. I think the Revan, the Sith Lord, fucked them all up and massacred the majority of them. And then they moved to a more peaceful oriented lifestyle. And then in the Clone Wars, Darth Maul comes in and fucks their shit up again and reverts them almost to a warlike nation. So they've gone through a lot of shit throughout the Star Wars universe. They're very compelling in my opinion in terms of their arc as a people. And now it looks like they're back to their old roots of a warlike people.
Gotcha.
Which is really cool. So what we're getting, and you get to see that with the blacksmith, with the fact that he has to earn his armor.
That whole part was awesome.
Fuck yeah, that was super cool.
He had that special metal or whatever they had to melt down. Yeah, that was cool.
So that was really cool. I liked
his weapon is badass.
His weapon
evaporates,
disintegrates people on contact.
It's freaking crazy.
He's shooting Jawas in front of Yoda baby, just brutal. Love it. And then what else was really cool about the Mandalorian stuff? Him saying my weapon is my religion, little things like that. I love it when Star Wars is such an expansive universe with so many different aliens and races and cultures and peoples. To see something zone in a little bit on it, I that's exactly what I've been wanting Star Wars to do, and these spin-off movies to do specifically. So it's cool to get that to finally happen. Yeah, I don't know. I'm that's something I'm excited to see. I guess more of the Star Wars universe with Mandalorian.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it's still so early on for me to say one way or another. I'm definitely excited to see more though. So I mean, they got something.
Also set post episode 6. I feel like this is the only media we have right now for Star Wars that's after episode 6. That's not episode. Minus the movies. I think Resistance, that animated show, which is closer to the Seven's timeline, is
Resistance. What is that from?
It's it's the bad animated TV show for Star Wars.
Oh,
you have
the
Clone Wars, which is great. Rebels is supposed to be really good after season 1, and then Resistance is dog shit the whole way.
Are those all animated? I know Clone Wars is animated, but they are all animated.
They are all animated. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Resistance is the most childish, I guess. It doesn't have Dave Filoni, who is who headed the other animated series. Doesn't have him heading Resistance, so it's just in terms of quality, it's just a lot lesser.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I guess what was I saying? Fuck.
You were talking about how the oh man, my mind just collapsed onto itself.
I mean, just the focus, I guess, of Mandalorian is very cool. Seeing it just kind of,
right. You were talking about how like the Clone Wars and stuff. This is the first time. This is what you were saying. Yes. You were saying it was the first time since if you don't count episode 9 that we're going past.
Oh
6.
yeah. So seeing it like past episode 6 is really cool. I didn't even know that going into Mandalorian. I just was watching it, and then that guy tried to pay him in a Republic credits.
I had to ask you. I was like, I didn't know that. I was like, when the fuck is this timeline, man? I don't understand. And
that's because Yoda Baby fucked you up. Because you called him Baby Yoda. If you knew that he was Yoda Baby instead of a Baby Yoda, then you know exactly. Right now. Sorry.
Can't happen.
But he says like Imperial credits, like there is no Empire. I don't need, like, this isn't good enough for me. So like seeing that was super cool, and just exciting because it might have implications on like episode 9. I don't know, but it's just it's a timeline in the galaxy that we haven't seen before, and that's cool too.
Yeah, speaking of this timeline, you have something written down. So this was your thought. I'm glad you brought it up because I almost forgot about it. But they show you the stormtroopers and the Imperials in hiding. That was so fucking awesome. Like, that was one of the coolest things that I totally forgot about that right now. That was awesome seeing that.
The tone of that when that door opens and you see these dirty, grimy stormtroopers look over.
Just like beat to hell.
Yeah, beat to hell. You can feel like I just got a sense of disgust with like where they stood now. Like they lost their power, they lost their status. They joined, and you see
people using Imperial credits, and they're like, they're no good here.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine? Like, so that was such a fucking cool little moment. And like, I don't know, I fell for it. Like when like the guy was like, I'm going to pay you a shitload of money. I'm going to pay you in Beskar, and you'll get a lot more once you finish this job.
Right.
I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, let's finish this job.
Yeah.
Not even thinking like, of course the Imperials want him to do some shady fucking shit.
Right. Well, I didn't even think about like, that was cool when they showed the currency. I was like, I couldn't believe that. I was like, that's such a thing that would have flown right over top of my head that they were bringing up. Like, this money is fucking shit now.
It's shit now. The Empire's gone, dude. Like, why? Yeah.
Right.
So I just feel like the people, the showrunners, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, I know helped with the show too. He directed the first episode. I feel like they have just such a good and keen awareness of the Star Wars universe. And because of that, they can dive really deep into, extended universe stuff that we never get to see anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like everything from Disney Star Wars has been, original trilogy, and they're like afraid to move anywhere else. And this kind of feels like they're
especially
moving.
After Solo did bad. I'm surprised they're taking another dive into something like a spin-off. But I guess because it's it's basically a TV show.
It's a TV show. It's a different direction that they're trying, and I think people seem to love it. Like I feel like the feedback so far has been really positive.
I'm positive on it. I just need to see more.
Yeah. So Mandalorian, I'm excited. I can't wait to see more. Do you have any other thoughts on it?
No, not really. It's more of a wait and see approach.
For sure. I don't know if we'll do, maybe after the whole show's done, we'll talk about it. We'll probably talk about it in
we could do like a seasonal recap or something.
We can do that, or in the beginning of like regular podcast when we're talking about what we're playing and watching. Maybe we'll talk about the latest episode.
Yeah, we might do that in there.
So we might do that too. We'll see. I don't know how our coverage will be. Keep an eye out. Follow us on Twitter. We'll let you know.
Indeed.
All right. To get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast, though, The Force Awakens is the first of the 2 movies that we watched. What do you want to start with Force Awakens?
Let me start with a question to you.
Yes.
We would agree that people should see The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So why would somebody want to see this film if they were new to Star Wars, or if they had already seen some of Star Wars? Let's say like they're not really a fan. They've seen a couple of movies.
Interesting.
Just random movies. Nothing in a row.
As someone who's not a fan, I think it's a good launching point, especially for kids. I think seeing a new protagonist that they can relate to, a few new protagonists actually, like with Finn and Rey. That's a really great reason to watch. Especially if you have like a young girl. I know my niece loves The Force Awakens.
Because Rey's the hero.
So that's like a really cool thing.
Let's hope it stays that way.
She'll like stays the hero or what? Yeah. Oh yeah. That dark Rey. Yeah. Who knows? So I think that's good. I think it's a well put together film. I think it's really fun. I think it's very accessible. Even if you aren't super familiar with the Star Wars characters. That said, if you are a huge fan of Star Wars, I think Episode 7 is awesome. I think it has great pays great homage to the originals. I think it feels like a a resurgence of quality for the Star Wars franchise after the prequels. Yeah, I think it's just a good, fun movie. Much like the first Star Wars was, A New Hope.
Sure.
You like that movie. You at least like that movie.
I do like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with most of that. I think that, if you're new to Star Wars, it's probably a good place to start. If you want, if you're going to watch the new movies, things will make more sense, obviously, to start there. If you've seen some Star Wars, you'll get enough out of it because some of the characters and stuff will be in there. So I think whether you're new to Star Wars or if you've even seen some Star Wars, obviously if you're a fan, you're going to go see it. So that's why I didn't pose the question that way. But I think even if you've seen a little bit of Star Wars or none, that's probably a good place to start. Especially if you plan on going and seeing 9.
Oh yeah.
Fortunately, you'd have to get through 8, but that's another.
We'll get to it. Yeah, and kind of branching from that point, I did want to talk about how what this movie meant when it came out, I guess, because this movie effectively had to really win back Star Wars fans, because it was post prequels. It was after this Disney transaction. Disney was buying Star Wars. We didn't know what the hell was going on. Do you remember what the state of Star Wars pre this movie, where we were at, the quality of stuff? The last movie that came out was Clone Wars, the movie, which was fucking trash.
Oh, this
they had an animated film called The Clone Wars that and then from there they made the show. Yeah,
I mean the last thing I saw would have been Episode 3.
Okay.
And Episode 3, a lot of people hate Episode 3, but I think it's probably it's probably my favorite one of the first 3 movies, the prequels.
But even think about the games. We had Star Wars Connect. It was the last game that had come out. That fucking that abomination of a video game. Do you remember Star Wars Connect?
No, I don't even know this thing existed.
They have a dance game, a Just Dance with Star Wars characters.
Oh, that game. Man, I totally forgot about that. I was thinking Connect, Connect 4, what they made a fucking Connect 4 game with Star Wars.
The Xbox Connect Star Wars. Yeah,
I think I have that game that I've never opened.
Gosh, I'll never forget seeing Han Solo rap a song about him being Han Solo, and I was
that's cool, man.
And I was like, Star Wars is dead. That's it. We got these last 3 movies in the prequel trilogy, and now it sucks. And so going into Episode 7, my faith was so low. So low.
I would say I probably had more faith just from what I saw in the trailers and stuff. The trailers won me over pretty quickly. Dude, I thought they had a really good trailer.
That was so difficult. I was seeing these trailers with practical effects and
dude, they won me over with their trailers for sure. I was like, I'm definitely gonna see this movie.
I wanted to believe, but I was so afraid. I was like, that I can't allow myself to like it. But
that's kind of where I'm at with 8. I've been
for sure.
I've been stabbed in the back so many times where I'm just I'm not going to believe it till I see it anymore.
Man. But then it did it. But then it came out. Episode 7 came out. And I think for me, and I feel like for a lot of people, it rekindled the faith.
Yeah, it was a good Star Wars movie. Yeah. Not the best. Most certainly not the worst. Not even close to the worst. Better than anything in the prequel trilogies.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it did a good job, showing these new characters, introducing you to new characters, kind of setting up this passing of the torch. With Han Solo kind of being the only person to really focus on.
I like that it was mostly about. Obviously, they showed you Rey and Finn and stuff, but I like that a lot of it was about Han Solo. Luke really had nothing to do with the film. Yeah, pretty much until the last few moments.
Yeah, the last seconds of the movie.
Right, and I think that was a good move.
Yeah,
Luke didn't need to be in that film.
No, it was cool. It was cool to see Han Solo kind of eat up lines. I did want to talk about Han Solo specifically as a character within this film. Should we get into that?
Sure.
I did like seeing Han Solo kind of Han Solo again. I feel like in episode 6...
he was very Han Solo in this movie.
Yeah. In episode 6, I feel like he's kind of goofy. He felt kind of not himself. Whereas this, I think they just nail his character so well. I feel like JJ just has such a good awareness of Star Wars and, specifically the original trilogy characters, that he knows how to write them. He obviously has a lot of love for them. And just seeing Han Solo be Han Solo, it was cool. It was a good feeling.
Yeah, his interaction with other characters is fantastic. The dialogue they wrote for him was great. the shit that he would say would be like, oh yeah, that's some shit Han Solo would say, like instantly, like yeah, that's some shit he would say
between freaking Chewie and him.
Yeah,
oh my
man,
god, some of the best I think like Chewie Han Solo moments ever are in this movie.
Yeah,
the you're cold, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, like that, and yes I do every time I talk myself out of these things. Yeah, like
yeah, and she was like, no, you don't.
Like, no, yes I do every time. So there's a lot of good stuff with Han. We got to see him sacrifice himself, which is something Harrison Ford wanted in Episode 5. So I think that's a cool way to kind of end his arc.
Absolutely.
And then he gets to skip Episode 8 and that travesty. So that's cool too.
Yeah, man, he must have felt so good about getting out of there at the right time. Like, can you imagine how happy he was to be like, fuck yeah, dude.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think he watched Episode 8. And I don't even think he watched Episode 7. Like, I don't know if he, like, I think he just did his job.
He was just done.
He's like, all right, got my paycheck. I'm out of here.
Fuck it.
Yeah, Han Solo. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about Han, his moments?
No, I mean, I think we mentioned like the big ones. They just did such a great job with this character. Harrison Ford nailed the performance, obviously. That was one of the best characters in 7.
Yeah, his interactions with Leia I thought were really good.
They're believable.
They felt believable. It was nice. I feel like there's one scene in that movie where they're talking about Snoke, and it seems a little weird because you can tell Harrison Ford doesn't know what the fuck a Snoke is. He's like,
I remember what you were talking about.
It was Snoke that turned him. And like, he's like, it doesn't really seem to be believing this line. But when he's like talking with other people, when he's having like actual interactions with other actors, with Rey and Finn, those were all really good.
Yeah,
it was really fun. That's not how the Force works. Like, yeah.
And I guess being on the topic of characters, Rey and Finn were awesome. Like,
yes.
In 7 and in 8, to be fair, like both, they picked really good characters for those. J.J. Abrams did a great job of pretty much most of the casting that he did. I can't think of anybody that did a bad job in 7.
Yeah, all the casting in these movies, especially in 7, are phenomenal. Like, they really nailed everybody. It was truly impressive, which is so funny because you look at the prequel trilogy and see the abomination in casting that they did there. Like, to see them really just... It seemed like that was like they almost wanted to make a point. Like, let's get actors who know what they're doing for these roles.
Yeah, they did an awesome job. Rey and Finn's interactions together were good also.
Yeah, so good.
They had really good interactions. Just the same way you brought up earlier with Poe and Finn. They had awesome interactions together in 7.
I like Finn a lot because he acts so much as this bonding agent between like anybody that he really grows attached to. So like him and Finn really connect in a lot of big ways. Like they like right off the bat when like he and they don't even have to spend that much time together in this movie. They just have like that beginning breakout together. But when they're breaking out on that TIE fighter, there's just this energy, this kinetic energy between them as they're getting out. And
it's believable. Like the way Finn acts, he's such a believable character in it. Like he's a grounded person because he's really taking like, he's from a stormtrooper. Like he's taking that role on, in a very believable way. Like, this is how you would react. This is how you would speak to people.
He's afraid of the Empire. He has this undying fear.
He's afraid of them. When he shoots down that first ship, he's like, oh yeah, they're all excited and stuff. Like his character is just very believable. Like he looks at things, in a way that's like more critical of things. Like when somebody would say something like that's been like, in the Star Wars universe for a while. It's almost like he's looking at them like what? He
doesn't buy into it.
Right. Yeah. He's like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's a very grounded character.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Which is cool. And it does pay attention to his upbringing as an Imperial Stormtrooper, being caught in the system of the First Order for his entire life. Of course he has this fear and this apprehension towards fucking with the First Order.
Right.
Because all he wants to do is get away.
Right. He's trying to get away in 7 for, 70%, 80% of that
movie.
Whole movie, trying to get away.
That whole movie, the only thing that brings him back into the fold is his connection to Rey.
Yeah.
It feels like, and to Poe to some extent. So yeah, I do like.
That's also what's great with his character growth. Is that he's going from only caring about himself and getting away, to developing this friendship between other characters and wanting to stay there for them, and doesn't care about himself anymore and is turning into just caring more about them. It's
almost like a Han Solo level,
it is
it taps into that Han Solo, I'm more connected to the people I love than the cause or whatever.
Exactly.
That said, they kind of fuck it. They kind of screw that up in episode 8 when he's like, yeah, rebel scum or whatever. Like he's all psyched to be part of the resistance.
Yeah, they kind of messed that up.
But in episode 7, yeah, I do like his character a lot. Yeah, Poe's great. Rey's great. Rey, we should probably talk about Rey because a lot, like I feel like a big sticking point for Force Awakens, a big negative that people bring up is Rey's too powerful. She's too strong. Like she's not even trained. Like how does she have this level of like
I don't have a problem with that.
Yep. Why not? Why not?
Because they haven't explained it. Like why?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a reason. They didn't even explain it in 8, but that's a whole nother.
They didn't explain anything. In 8. They don't do anything in 8.
But I think if J.J. Abrams was still in charge in 8, you probably would have understood that a little bit more.
I think so.
And by 9, it would have been like evident why this is the way it is. I'm sure in 9 they're still gonna. J.J. will kind of.
It's a 2.5.
At least explain it a little bit.
It's the longest Star Wars movie, so he's got some time.
I'm sure he'll at least explain it a little bit, and I think it'll make more sense then. But having an unknown character with an unknown name, like maybe she's not a Skywalker, but she obviously has this force that she can control, and like she's a special person.
There needs to be an explanation for that power.
Look, this just can't be a lineage of Skywalkers in this universe.
Yeah,
there has to be other people that can.
I agree. And
can battle on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I'm totally okay with her being something else. I kind of like my big theory was that she's like another Force baby, like Anakin,
Yoda?
like Anakin was.
Oh, Anakin, yeah.
Even though, like Anakin was like almost
like
on the
his
opposite.
mother didn't have,
exactly.
He was immaculately conceived, basically.
Although we do find out Palpatine was the one who put him in there. Do you know that?
No.
Palpatine created Anakin.
Was this in the Clone Wars or something?
This isn't a comic.
Comic book.
A comic book, yes.
Is that still canon?
It is still canon. It came out after the Disney movie, like Disney acquisition.
Interesting.
Which is wild. And I'm hoping we get to see explanation or like, them mention that in episode 9. But no, I think I'm okay with like the way that Rey grows in her power. I actually think they do a really good job at building it. I think you notice things early on. She's a great pilot. When they're fucking with the Rathtars, like she when that thing almost like hits her, she like very much dodges out of the way
on the ship,
like that tentacle almost hits her and she like just
moves really quickly before she even understands her own power.
Exactly. So you can kind of see like a latent ability there. And I think like the issue that most people seem to have a problem with is like how she like learns her Jedi mind trick and like her Jedi abilities as quickly as she does, how she's like good at using a lightsaber. I think the second Kylo interacts with her, there's like an awakening within her.
Oh, definitely.
And she starts to pick up.
It's called the Force Awakens.
It's called the Force. Yeah, exactly. There you go. And I think I think Kylo is that trigger for her. And like, she doesn't ever do anything without Kylo first doing it in front of her.
At least at that point, no. She's just starting to understand that whole part of the universe, I guess. I mean,
she doesn't do her mind trick until fucking Kylo's fucking with her brain.
Right.
That's when she realizes, and she bests him at that. In that moment, she learns how to do it. So she's got like, to me, she's got this exponential potential to be just really, really strong. And I remember being really excited in Force Awakens to see what episode 8 would bring, because I was like, anybody that has that much power is going to be corrupted in some way. And that's what I was expecting out of episode 8, but we never really got it.
Well, thinking about people's problems with that, didn't Vader have that much power then? Wasn't he like, overpowered? He was basically more powerful than Obi-Wan almost instantly.
Anakin,
he sure had a little training, but like,
by episode 2, Anakin's doing all sorts of stupid shit. He's jumping out of cars and catching bounty hunters.
I would compare Rey to Anakin.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah. I guess with Anakin though, like
he had some training, sure.
He had like 6 years of training by the time you like get to see him. He's a kid, he's a baby boy.
Even when he was pod racing, he could do that. And nobody could, because he could see things faster than.
He's the only human who could do it.
Had that high midichlorian count, y'all.
Yep. And that's something I appreciate about 7 is like it's very much show don't tell. Like I feel like if you want
exactly, that's cool.
Like it would have been annoying for them to explain why she's so powerful. Like while she, like I preferred them kind of giving you crumbs to say like, dude, this chick's fucking really strong. And we need to take her seriously.
Before about Star Wars, like I can't stand when they give you all the answers. I don't want all the leave some mystery to it. Leave me thinking a little bit. Don't give me every goddamn answer. I don't want it.
And I think that's why I was so compelled by Rey. It's like, what is she?
Yeah, I mean, it's still compelling because they still haven't answered anything. Yeah. So why is she so powerful? Does she come from the Skywalker bloodline? Which I don't think she does. But like, how did she get all this power? Was she just naturally born in the world that way? They a lot of questions,
And then like that freaking that flashback or that weird dream sequence she has in episode 7, like where she touches Luke Skywalker's saber and stuff, and has images
with
of Cloud
Maz
City.
Kanata? Okay.
Where she has images of Cloud City, and you hear Obi-Wan's voice in the background. Even so, like it's like she has connections to like these people in the past that she has never met. Like there's got to be something there. So I'm interested. And I do hope we get to see them pay that off, and it's not just what Rian Johnson says in episode 8, where she's nobody and she's just strong because she's strong.
Right, and there was also that old man in the beginning of the episode who was like Obi-Wan.
Yes,
who like they didn't he dies and they didn't explain anything, about what he knew. Obviously, he knew something was happening.
Yeah, very beginning of episode 7, the guy who has Luke Skywalker's
he knows where
location.
Luke is.
What?
He knows where Luke is.
He knows where Luke
about
is,
Rey, right?
And I assume he has to know about Rey.
Right.
We don't know for sure.
They're on the same planet.
But they're on the same planet. This person is incredibly strong with the Force. It would just seem like a ridiculous coincidence that he just has no awareness, and they just happen to be on the same planet. This person who knows Luke and this person who is going to connect with Luke in some way. And I feel like episode 8 was supposed to explain something to some degree regarding him and all that, but it did not.
Didn't explain many things.
It didn't. Another complaint about this movie we should talk about is Star Killer Base is another Death Star.
Yeah, there's not a lot of problems I have with it, but come on, man.
This is your biggest issue, I think. With
Probably
this movie.
it's just lazy. It's like, Jesus Christ, why? I know it's a base. It's not a planet. It's like 8 times bigger.
Yeah,
I don't care. It's the same thing.
It's the same. New. It is the same thing, and I do think it's a little bit lazy. I'm oddly okay with it. Just because the movie, for me, does enough differently elsewhere. It introduces new characters. It sets up a compelling story that, if they decide to get lazy with... Because the Starkiller Base never feels like, oh shit, what is this? It just feels like, oh, okay, they're putting this is the climax.
It's a big old Death Star. It feels like. It's a big old Death Star.
They even say, they're like, so it's big. There's got to be a way to blow it up.
That whole sequence is kind of bad. It's like, there's got to be a way to blow it up. And like Han Solo says that or something.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like Jesus Christ, like really, we're gonna do this again.
It seemed like they weren't even like impressed by the fact that it was like a Star Kill, like a bigger Death Star.
It felt like they were doing it just to do it. Like, oh well, we're kind of like, you said they were recapsulating like episodes 4, 5, and 6 into this movie.
Yeah,
and that's obviously
a big part of 4.
I think they did that too. I think a lot of people focus. Yeah, it feels a lot like 4, but it also has some elements of 5 and 6 in there.
I think so, 100%. I think Empire Strikes Back, is a big thing with like big Snoke. You have big Snoke talking to Kylo Ren and stuff, kind of reminiscent of the Emperor talking to Vader in episode 5. So there's a lot of little things like that. I think that people don't like connect the dots with that make this feel like not just episode 4 but also 5 and 6, which is cool, like you were saying. But I think it's okay for me just because it's not made this focus. Like it just very much feels like something to just move the plot along.
It does.
And that it's like, okay, you could have done something cooler, but if you're not going to make it the cool thing, your centerpiece of the movie, then I guess it doesn't have to be that cool.
I guess it didn't need to be there necessarily. I mean, they could have done something else. And then while we're on the negative side of things,
of course.
You brought this up. It's a very valid point. R2-D2 turns on at a weird time, when if he just turned on earlier, it would have made more sense and things would have gone a lot better.
So R2-D2 has the remaining map for finding Luke Skywalker, and they bring him the missing piece, and R2-D2 just doesn't turn on. And C-3PO says, sorry, BB-8, he's been in low power mode ever since Luke left.
BB-8 was trying to get him to turn on. Like, BB-8 clearly knew what the hell was happening. Like, what stopped him from turning on? Like, who was controlling that?
And then he turns on at the end of the movie for no reason. And
there's no explanation to it.
My assumption always was, clearly Luke is watching from a distance here.
And he turns on R2-D2.
And now that Han has died, now that Rey has revealed herself and the Force has awakened and the Chosen One has shown itself, hey, come find me.
Until episode 8.
Until episode 8 starts and he throws the thing. Like, so like the R2D2 thing is just so stupid now. Like, why the fuck does he wake up? Like, why?
It might have made sense if J.J. Abrams got to continue, making those. But it clearly.
By
the way, when he throws out the lightsaber in episode 8, what an indication of what he thought about the movie before.
Yeah, that's Rian Johnson throwing JJ's script treatment for episode 8. He's like, I don't fuck all this shit. I'm gonna do my own meta narrative Star Wars. It's gonna be super lame. Okay.
Right into the ocean. Fuck it all.
So that's a complaint that's out there, and I think it's a valid one at this point. Another one is destroying the New Republic. In like
when they killed all those planets.
Yeah. Don't
necessary.
Don't introduce a new republic and then destroy it in like the same second that you like brought it. I don't know. It just seems kind of lazy.
It's not necessary.
I didn't feel the stakes. They're showing me like these planets get destroyed, and I'm supposed to be like, oh shit. And it's like, I don't know.
Right, because in the other movies, you spent time on those planets. Like, you got to at least know like some of the people there, or like things. This was just like random planets.
If that was Coruscant, I would have been like, whoa, what the?
Because you've already had time there.
Yeah, and I love Coruscant. It's one of my favorite like things about the Star Wars universe. I want to see more of that. So if they destroyed that, I'd be like, holy fuck, what the hell's happening? But they just like, here's the New Republic. We didn't even put it where the old Republic was. We moved it to a different planet just so we can destroy it and you don't have to feel bad about it. So I think that's my only true complaint about Force Awakens. The Starkiller base I can let go. R2D2, what fucking ever. A lot of loose threads I just blame on Rian Johnson for not doing his job rather than like getting mad at J.J. Abrams for leaving loose threads. I think
of course he left loose threads because you gotta have another movie.
Hey, guess what? This is a trilogy.
If they were like make a fucking trilogy, bro. Like
yeah. Anyway. Man, I love that Force Awakens. We're talking about Force Awakens, and all we're talking about is how much we hate Episode 8.
It just makes you hate it more when you know it's coming.
I do think it's important to know. Like I think
7 would be better without 8.
Yeah, 7 was better without 8. 7 was one of my favorite Star Wars ever.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was good.
It was up there. It was my top 3. It was my third favorite.
Definitely not for me, but it was good.
Let's see if there's anything else we want to talk about. We kind of talked about these new characters. Oh, I do want to mention just the level of care that like JJ put into his new characters. Like we kind of already talked about how good they are, how fleshed out they are, but it's such an interesting thing to me that like these are characters that JJ created, and they're very compelling in this movie, and I feel like they're far less compelling in Episode 8. And it's just something that really excites me about Episode 9. Because no matter what Episode 9 does, no matter what direction it goes in, no matter how it decides to end the whole saga, we are going to see JJ back with the characters that he created, that he clearly loved a lot.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to see those characters be together as well, on an adventure together. So seeing all that is something that has me actually really excited about Episode 9. Because he did put a lot of work into these characters in this movie. And I think it shows.
I refuse to get excited.
Yeah.
But I hope it's good.
I hope it's good too.
One quick thing for 7 that I forgot to mention was like the scenery is really awesome throughout most of the movie. There's really good parts. There's a lot of practical effects that they brought back from this film. Because they have overdone CGI to the point of, cracking your eyeballs open from 1, 2, and 3. My favorite scenes were... it's kind of like a transitional point because they're not. I don't think they're exactly back to back, but they're pretty close together. When Kylo Ren kills Han, this is spoilers for everything. We're doing
I mean,
episode 7 and 8.
7. If you didn't want,
when Kylo Ren kills Han Solo, that whole scene is black and red, so it's very like reminiscent of like the dark side of the Force. And then when he fights Rey, the whole scene is blue and black, which is more like the blue is from Luke's lightsaber.
Yes.
And
the red is that dark side. When she's like overtaking him.
Yeah, the whole scene is blue and black.
So, we need it.
Even though he has a red lightsaber, she takes out his lightsaber and it all turns black and blue. We
need to talk about like the color like theory that JJ put into this movie and how it relates directly to characters. Like Kylo Ren, there's something about Kylo Ren we didn't even mention. I love that he's an inverse of Luke Skywalker. I feel like he is where Luke Skywalker was someone on the light side who struggled with dealing with the dark side and dark side tendencies, his fear, his connection to his friends. he turns to he flirts with the dark side when he overtakes Vader. I feel like Kylo is the inverse of that. He's that dark side prince who has light side tendencies that he's trying to banish. And
that's a good way of looking at it.
And I love that. That's why I love his character so much. And that's why I think to this day that he's a redeemable character. Because
he's 100% redeemable.
That's such a...
even though he killed Han Solo, which is crazy to think, but, you see him struggling with that through both movies.
Yep. Yeah. It's always there. It's always present. And I love that so much about that character. And you see it. You see it in the color of these scenes, like that you're mentioning. Like when he's there with Han, it's blue and red are like the primary colors, aside from black. That's very dominant in that scene. It's blue and red, and as soon as that sun disappears,
it's all black and red.
It's all black and red, and that's when he turns. And for a second, when I was watching, I was like, maybe he's not going to do it. Like maybe this movie's going to turn on a complete 180.
I was sure he was dead.
Yeah, I knew it, but I thought maybe it was.
I had no maybe whatsoever.
It had me, just the color of it, the way that he was looking at his dad. I was like, dude, maybe. And I think that's just more a testament to the acting of the characters than the writing. Because the writing, if you look at that script, it's like obviously Han Solo is going to die right here if you're just reading that script. But I think
it's so focused on him.
Yeah, and the whole movie was, and it was clearly building up to him dying and stuff. But just seeing Kylo's anguish in there. But the second that that sun went out and it was all red, it's like, oh fuck. He's gonna turn.
Oh, you knew.
And
sure.
That was just a very cool thing to do. And then as the movie went on, as Rey started to get stronger, that blue became the dominant color again within that scene.
It was blue and red with both their lightsabers, and then she kills his lightsaber, and everything's just black and blue.
So it's that blue and red to blue, red and black to black and red to blue and black, and that was just such a cool way to tell the story through the colors and stuff. So
right, it was a very subtle thing. I mean, maybe it wasn't subtle, but I feel like a lot of people probably didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And it was right there.
Yeah, it's something that I don't think I really resonated until this viewing. And I've seen this movie a lot of times. I was like, oh yeah, that's the whole way through they're doing stuff with colors. That's really
exactly. It's just in the background. Yeah. It's not there for you to think about because you're focused on the characters, but it adds a lot to the scenes.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super awesome. It's very clever too. Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything else to say about episode 7. How do you feel about it, watching it? Because this is the first time you've watched it in years, you said, right?
Yeah, it's the first time I watched it since the Blu-ray came out. When the Blu-ray came out, I bought the Blu-ray, watched it again. I watched bits and pieces on TV, randomly.
But all the way through, you've seen it twice.
Yes, this was my third time, and it was good. It was better than I remember. It was a good movie.
It's a fun movie, I think.
Yeah, I like it.
I feel like I have a lot of fun watching this movie, which is great feeling to feel.
It was. Until a few minutes after we stopped watching that and put in another movie.
Yeah. So let's go into... We watched both of these movies today back to back, which had a amplifying effect on me and my hate.
Richard, here's how this is going to go. Richard was yelling audibly multiple times throughout the film. In anger.
Yeah, I was mad. I was getting really mad during this movie. And I think it was having to watch episode 7 and then going directly into 8
because it made 7 a worse movie.
Dude, as I was watching 7, I was getting a little heated. And then once 8 started off...
Right, because you know what's going to happen in 8. And you're like, I can't believe they fucked this up. I can't believe they fucked this up.
I really feel like JJ put things on a silver platter and it just... he's like, I don't like silver and I don't like platters. Get this out of here. I'm making meatloaf.
Yeah, he just did his own thing for sure.
Okay, so you have an opening question for Last Jedi to get us started, right?
Yeah, so it's pretty similar to the last one, but with a little twist. Why would you not recommend people see this film that are either new to Star Wars or, have seen some Star Wars?
I mean, to keep a level head, you shouldn't start with this movie because it's the second movie in a trilogy.
Okay, yeah, that's smart. That makes a lot of sense.
Just to be straightforward. But to not watch this, I don't think you shouldn't watch this movie as a Star Wars fan. I think you need to, I think you need to have an awareness of where this trilogy's going.
They're going to pull stuff from 9 is going to play off of 8. Even if you didn't like it, there is going to be stuff that connects. So,
but I do wonder if once we're done with episode 9, that if episode 9 has so little connective tissue to episode 8 that if you can just go to episode 1 to or episode 7 to
7
9,
to 9
when you're
skipping.
rewatching. Because I'm kind of hoping that's where I end up, like with this trilogy, is that like much like, and not to say that The Dark Knight is a skippable movie, it does not connect to what precedes it and what comes after it that well. I don't think.
I didn't see all the Batman, so I don't know.
So Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises.
I've seen Batman. Batman Begins was the first of that trilogy?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that one. That one was a good one.
Have you seen The Dark Knight?
No.
Dude, we have to do a B-sides about The Dark Knight.
That was the second one?
That's the one with Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker.
Oh, I saw one
Oh,
with
you've
Joker.
seen that one.
So maybe I've seen 2 Batmans then. I might have
Okay.
seen Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Okay.
What was the one after that?
Dark Knight Rises with Bane.
Definitely didn't see the one with Bane.
The guy who talks like this.
Definitely didn't see Bane.
The fire rises. You don't remember
No,
this guy?
definitely
Okay.
did not see Bane.
Okay, so 1 and 2 actually have a lot of connective tissue in terms of like their plot. And if you're watching...
2 has the Heath Ledger Joker.
Yeah. 100%,
Okay, yeah.
100%.
I definitely... If I didn't see the whole thing, I definitely seen a good
And then
chunk
Batman
of it.
Begins is Liam Neeson. He's Ra's al Ghul. Maybe you've only seen Dark Knight.
God, I don't remember. It's been since like the movies were.
Those movies came out a while back. But like I feel like episode 8 might be like a Dark Knight, but like the twisted, disgusting, bizarro universe of Dark Knight, where it's just complete shit. It doesn't connect to like the movies around it that well, and it's also just not good either.
This is the best way I can describe
Yes.
the film. I said this multiple times before, but I think like these people got together in a room.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bunch of like cards on a board to like lay out like what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
And they were just looking at the cards and like, these are really cool ideas,
Cool scenes, cool
and you're
colors.
supposed to connect the cards together. Like you're supposed to have like all these like things like thread together the story. And
Every
stuff.
other story would have those threads.
But this one just didn't have that, and they were just like, cool.
They're like,
Whatever on those postcards that
film
aren't
all
connected together,
these
those
and then
cool
throw 'em.
scenes, just get those cool scenes in the movie.
So yeah, we can talk about how this movie just throws things at you and doesn't seem to resolve it. The first thing that comes to mind is DJ, whose name I discovered today.
You didn't even know.
I just called him fucked up codebreaker up until now. So when DJ has this moment with Finn and Rose Tico on board of their ship, like on board of that ship, and he's like, bad guy, good guys. Look, this guy you think is a good guy, but he sells to the bad guys and the good guys. Turns out things aren't so black and white.
Right.
And then the movie ends with like, hey, Kylo Ren is black, he's bad, and then Rey is white, she's good.
Wait for
And-
that second though. When
But,
when
no.
Rey and Kylo were
Yeah,
together, like
yeah.
you thought, when they break Luke's lightsaber,
Yes.
you thought for a second they might team up,
Yeah.
and that didn't happen.
No, absolutely not. Like it's just so there's just a lot of little things that the movie just doesn't feel cohesive, and I was getting frustrated just watching the movie because I just felt like it was all over the place.
It was like giving you mental blue balls multiple times because there was multiple times in the movies where like, oh my god, this is gonna happen.
Oh, this whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it didn't. And then something like that would happen again a little while, like a half an hour later. Like, oh my god, this might happen. No.
Yeah, let's talk about
didn't
that
happen.
that specifically. Like this idea of the movie getting you excited for a Star Wars trope, and then almost slapping your hand for getting excited for that trope. Like when you go to Canto Blight is probably the biggest offender of this. When you get to Canto Blight, it's like this cool casino place.
Oh, Jesus.
A lot of shit going on. I was excited, kind of. I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool fucking area. And Finn's excited. He's like, dude, this place is awesome. Like, look at all the lights. This is so cool. Never been to a place like this. And the camera pans to Rose Tico, and she's like, it's really not that cool. Why don't you take a closer look? And they use the periscope to see that, animals are being abused and kids are being enslaved. And
yeah, thanks for the downer, by the way.
all the
I really
people-
wanted to think about abused animals in my Star Wars movie.
and the
you
1%,
fucking dick.
and also the 1%.
And also the 1%.
And then it just immediately shits on everybody who's there. Like, it wasn't like the codebreaker they're supposed to link up with, like a good guy. Like, wasn't he, or isn't he like one of these 1%ers? And it just
didn't need to be in a Star Wars movie. Like, I understand you're being an artist, you're expressing your things.
Yeah.
I'm totally for being against people who abuse animals. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why it's in a Star Wars movie.
I'm okay with it being in a Star Wars movie if it makes sense for the branching narrative.
Okay,
if I'll
agree
make a
with that.
story about
I'll
the
agree with that.
1% that exists within Star Wars, do that story in a different movie that's not connected to the fucking whole 9-movie trilogy.
Right, do it in a spin-off or something
like
that.
Go somewhere else with that shit. Like, this movie is supposed to be about Rey and Kylo and all, like, these characters and, like, where, the Skywalker trilogy or saga is going. And you're fucking wasting our time throwing weird meta narratives at us about, the 1%.
They're there for like 45 minutes, too.
And it's so long. Yeah.
It's the longest chunk of that movie.
Well, let's talk about how long this fucking movie and how little happens.
It's too long to begin with. It's like 2.5 hours.
It's 2.5 hours, and I feel like the least amount of plot progression I've seen in a film, period, happens in this movie. Nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Fucking Christ, dude. I'm so upset I can't even, like, focus on one topic. I just want to rip into everything at once. Let's...
Is there anything good about this movie before? Because we're just gonna.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We're gonna talk a lot of.
Yeah.
We don't like the movie.
Yeah. If you want to skip to the end of this discussion, because we're only talking about bad stuff, you can. So let's talk about what's good about this movie before
we should probably do that. I think the scenes are really cool. I think they're shot awesome. The CGI in it is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's really good colors in this movie. Like I think.
Like the red when they go to the salt area.
Yeah, like the red and the white is really cool looking. I think Supreme Leader Snoke's throne room is really cool. Like all the red.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool set pieces.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool things to see, which is why I brought up that point earlier where they had cool ideas for cool scenes.
Yeah.
And just couldn't thread shit together. So they were like, just go with the cool scenes. Fuck the story.
Yeah. They didn't give enough thought. I mean, but the thing is, Rian Johnson's trying to he has a story, but his story has nothing to do with the story you're watching on screen. His story is all the tropes that you think are cool in Star Wars aren't cool, and you should rethink them. You should rethink why you think they're cool.
Right.
But that's
it's like not a Star Wars fan. He's like, I don't understand why people are Star Wars fans, so I'm going to make this movie for the person who's not a Star Wars fan.
Why are you here? Leave us alone. I just wanted to watch Star Wars. I wanted to see these characters continue. I don't want to think about why Poe is a bad character because a gunslinger is cool. Like I don't want to rethink. I want to just enjoy the characters that were presented to me in the last movie and to see them evolve. And instead, I have to
let it be known that we went for positives for 30 seconds. that was all you got was 30 seconds before you immediately started shitting on the film again.
I just get so. This is my third time watching this movie. I watched it twice and I couldn't watch it again for like a year. Like,
I'll give one more positive real quick.
Okay, please.
At the end, when Rey's on the Millennium Falcon with Chewie.
Yeah.
I like that.
You like that?
Positive.
I don't like it.
And she lifts up the rocks. I like that part too. I thought that was cool.
I don't like it. I don't care. Like it's not that I don't
By then
like
the movie was already ruined for you.
Yeah, I was
that's
too.
A cool part.
Like, we get to that point and I'm just like thinking about how mad I am about everything that I have seen and transpired. Let's talk about Luke Skywalker because I think that might be the most egregious.
What a travesty.
Egregious thing. And I don't want to say that I'm against this idea of Luke.
I am. It doesn't make any sense.
It
doesn't make any sense.
That's the problem. Like if Luke's going to become jaded, if he's going to become cynical, if he's going to cut himself off from the Force, there needs to be a good reason for it. And they don't justify it here.
Not enough. The justification is weak.
The justification is Luke Skywalker, the guy who saved his father, the most evil, like, feared man in the galaxy.
Luke had no fear in episode 6. Let me remind all of you.
Yeah.
He was not afraid to face Vader or Palpatine alone.
Yeah. By himself with he throws his fucking saber away.
Mm-hmm. And then we have this. Afraid to teach somebody how to be a Jedi.
Yeah, and that's his dad who he doesn't know. He didn't watch his dad grow up. He never knew his dad. But him knowing that it was his father was enough to convince him that I can bring him back. That's my dad. He grew up with Ben Solo, I presume. He watched him grow up from a baby child. And to say that like he had this moment of doubt because he looked into his nephew's mind, a nephew who had yet to do anything evil, but had only had it in his brain, had darkness in his brain, and of course he does. He's the son of fucking Anakin Skywalker, who was created by Palpatine to be who the fuck knows what. Like, of course he's got some darkness in him. To say that he's gonna look at this child that he's known his whole life, who's his own
blood.
flesh and blood, and say,
His nephew.
I might have to kill him. He would never do that. He would never do that. The only way it's acceptable is if Ben like fucking lost his mind beforehand. Like it's character assassination of like just the cruelest degree to a character that didn't deserve it. And it's only because, and it only feels like it's because Rian Johnson hates Star Wars tropes and wanted you to divorce your brain from that stuff.
It definitely feels that way. I mean, there's a lot of contradiction, though, if you watch the movie and you think about it, too. Another one point of contradiction in there was that they have Luke do this whole thing where he's saying, I was the legend, and like people consider me a legend. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then they end him out to be like a legend.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Did you not hear what you wrote like a few scenes ago?
And I don't know what he's saying by doing that. I don't know what.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
What's your message right now?
So you're telling us he's not a legend. It doesn't matter that he's a legend, but then you make him go out like a legend, like a legendary thing would happen.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Maybe like maybe the idea is like after he has that conversation with Yoda, that like he realizes the importance.
That was all weird too. That whole scene is fucking weird.
It's unearned.
Weird.
It's infuriating that Yoda is in this movie.
He shouldn't even be in the fucking film.
This movie doesn't deserve to just pull Yoda out of its ass. It's not. It didn't earn that. That's unacceptable to me. Also, fucking that line he gives Luke where he's like, I forget the line exactly. It's something along the lines of, Yoda says this to Luke. He says, Our students become more than we could ever be. That is like the plight of the master. And it's like, bitch, I know Luke did that to you in episode 4 or in 5 and 6. That happened to you. I know. He knows. Why is Luke brought back to like a place where he was in episode 4? Why is
at this point?
Why
Luke
does he regress
like Yoda
so much?
They're seeking out Luke just like Luke sought out Yoda.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically Luke is Yoda at this point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, his temple, it's like a fucked up version of Dagobah where he doesn't teach you shit. He teaches you fuck all, and then you just have to leave without him.
Look, Yoda being there doesn't make any sense, but he did say one of my favorite lines in the film was the greatest teacher failure is, which is an awesome line.
It's a good line.
But it wasn't earned. It was just like, you said a great line.
Sure.
With,
Great job, Rian Johnson. You learned how to write a Yodaism. I'm so proud of you. You were able to emulate a character who has been in this franchise and made them their own, how they usually act for 1 second. I'm really impressed.
It just fell flatter than most, like when you were in Dagobah on, in 5 or 6 and Yoda was speaking, it meant so much more than it was just tossed in.
By then I was so upset that like I couldn't even care
you were
about
upset.
what you were saying. I can't even look at Yoda right now. I'm like, great, you put Puppet Yoda in. I'm happy now is what you think is going to happen, but not the case. What was I going to say about Rey? Oh, and then like Rey. Okay, so here's. Do you mind if I switch into a new little topic? Rey. Let's see. I have it here. Generally, when you have a trilogy and you're in the second chapter of that trilogy, that's the one where the protagonist is most tested. Okay. Would you agree with that? Empire Strikes Back. Luke has to get his hand cut off. He has to find out that his arch nemesis is his father, and he has to kill his father. That's what he finds out in that movie. He loses his friend. Like he's the most tested.
Yes.
What test does Rey go through in this film?
To be fair, I'm throw you for a little bit of Luke,
please.
I see the road you're going down, but I'm going to flip the road around and show you that there's a fork in it.
Help me out.
It wasn't about Rey. It was about Kylo Ren.
Okay.
He was the most tested person.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think
he's been the most tested since 7.
Yeah, and I think that's why he is my favorite character in this trilogy.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I still like Rey more. I don't know. Just like her. I think she's a great actress,
I love Daisy Ridley.
Adam Driver's fine. He does a good job as Kylo Ren, but it's a little much.
I see what you're saying.
Just a little much.
I can see how, people can view him as as unlikable, but that's a good point. Yeah, I think Kylo is the one who's more tested in this movie.
I think you'll see that come through in episode 9.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a choice. I think that's going to have to come through in episode 9.
With her, like, struggling?
Yeah, I think she's going to
struggle.
struggle more than Kylo Ren, because I think Kylo Ren got so fucked up in these two films that he's going to kind of know what his path is at that point.
Yeah.
You know? Whether it's good or bad, I think that by the time 9 starts, he's going to know what he needs to do.
I'm curious. It does seem, I mean, he's fighting with Rey, so we'll see, like, if there's justification for why he's fighting, or if he's going to have, like, a second act turn to the light side.
Yeah, I mean, they show you in the preview him fighting with Rey, but are they fighting? It's not clear if they're necessarily fighting together or against each other, or who they're fighting, or who, like, there's, you know,
It
there's
might
a lot
also
of questions.
it might also be that they're not fighting together. It might be that, like, it's just a weird footing. It's a weird shot where it looks like they're fighting together, but they're actually fighting each other.
It could also be one of those things where they're like, you know, they Snoke bridge their minds together, where they think they're fighting each other, and maybe they're not.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see that. That is something that I feel like is still compelling within this trilogy, even after episode 8, is like the Rey and Kylo relationship. And I think that's something that can still be very much salvaged in episode 9.
It can be. Because there was no story in 8.
Because nothing happened. You're right.
They can kind of do a lot, other than like some characters they killed and shit.
There's no explaining R2-D2 turning on for no reason, and we're probably never going to find out who that guy in the beginning of episode 7 was. But for the most part, we're still getting Knights of Ren, so that's good. Gosh, what else? Holdo maneuver? Do you want to talk about that bullshit?
I think we have to, just because, like,
I think everyone.
Look, I know we're shitting on this movie a ton, but I mean, out of all the things that need to be said, this is one of the most important things that just it fucks up Star Wars.
Yeah. This is something that doesn't. This is like the one of the few things that doesn't just fuck up this trilogy, but the entirety of Star Wars.
All of
lore.
Star Wars, which was again a cool scene that somebody had slapped up on a board,
but
nobody gave it a fucking second thought.
Cool looking idea. I don't know how to explain it, but we should do it. And someone's like, "Yeah, we should do it. It does look cool." And then they did it, and then they shot that. So yeah, the Holdo maneuver is when Admiral Holdo turns her ship around and light speeds it into the Dreadnought and destroys not just the Dreadnought, but like 50 Star Destroyers. Matt's walking underneath the camera. He's just being very sneaky. He's doing a pretty good job. Also, when you walk past it, it's like a split second, by the way. You can't see you at all. Nice job. So yeah, it's Holdo light speeding into like a whole fleet of Star Destroyers, and it is the most destructive thing I've seen in Star Wars. Like, aside from Death Stars blowing up planets or Starkiller bases blowing up planets. And why the fuck isn't everybody doing this? And there's like, I know it's been talked about to death, but and I don't know what the arguments are for explaining why this is a logical thing and why no one is doing it all the time. Because I feel like you would just fucking...
Why didn't this happen in any other episodes?
Why doesn't it happen in anything? In any Star Wars canon that I know of, this has never happened before. How the fuck are you going to put something this world-changing in a movie and just pretend like it's not a big deal? And not even try and explain why it makes sense. And why it's okay.
There was no like justification for how this was possible.
It just turned around.
It was never possible before, apparently, and how it is suddenly possible now.
Yeah.
You know, there's just
why not use it on the Death Star? Why not put hyper speed engines onto asteroids and just launch them into things? Because apparently,
I didn't even think about that.
That is one of the most fucking destructive weapons you can have. Stop with this blaster shit. That thing rips right through the shields of the Dreadnought like it was nothing, and the 50 Star Destroyers behind it. Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say than that. It fucks up the whole universe. There's no explanation. Yeah. It's I don't know how this got past as being okay. Like, who do they not have like a board of people that are like watching out for shit like this and saying, hey, you're kind of fucking everything up if you put this in a movie. How did nobody say that? And if someone did, how come people didn't listen? It's crazy.
I really don't know. I really don't. And like, I mean, it's a testament to like almost the whole, or that's kind of indicative of like the whole movie's problem.
The whole movie's a big middle finger to everything else in Star Wars. It's like, fuck all of it.
Specifically on like that point that like, how did no one catch this? Like, how did no one catch the fact that like Luke Skywalker's calling a lightsaber a laser sword.
Yeah, he said a laser sword.
I feel like
that would never happen.
I've never heard his character call it a laser sword. I've never heard Mark Hamill.
He defended the galaxy with his laser sword.
So
that he called.
I guess
he's lightsaber.
I guess he's just trying to be like, shitty,
like a cynical asshole.
Yeah, cynical asshole.
But he shouldn't be that way, man.
But also, like, it doesn't feel like it's Luke Skywalker talking. It feels like it's Mark Hamill talking, which was like, it didn't feel like Luke,
because he was probably forced to do those scenes that he didn't want to do. He didn't believe that his character, because it's not believable.
Yeah,
he didn't believe that his character should be saying or doing those things, so he just half-assed it. He phoned it the fuck in. That's what you got.
Same thing with him and Rey on that rock when he's like, put your hand out. He's like, oh, using the leaf.
Oh, that part. Oh, that whole scene is awful.
Like, yeah, the whole scene, it just felt like they weren't even taught. Like they weren't
tried to make like a joke out of it. Like, oh, that's the Force. You feel the Force. And he
it didn't feel like they were Star Wars characters. Yeah.
No, it felt like some shit they'd have on a sitcom on like ABC at 9 p.m. at night.
It felt like the bloopers from The Last Jedi.
It was awful.
So I don't know. Like, it just felt like nobody was there to. I don't know. Dude, as you can see, we don't like this movie. I don't know what else to say about it.
You're lucky I didn't start drinking until like a little while ago, because I just opened my third beer, and I'd be going off right now.
I'm glad you waited. I think this has been a good progression of your beer.
Right now. I'm controlling myself as best I can.
Okay, so how... All right, these are some of the last closing discussion topics, and this one's going to be really mean and sound really shitty to people who like Episode 8. But I mean this honestly. How does one like this movie? What I wrote down here is, after a concerted effort to seemingly derail the plot threads put up in Episode 7, why do you think certain fans have such an affinity towards this movie? Why do certain fans of Star Wars just love this movie? Because I have a friend who loves Star Wars, and contends that this movie is one of the best Star Wars movies since Empire Strikes Back.
I think there's two reasons. A, it's different. It's very different from the other Star Wars movies, so they latch onto that.
Yeah.
B, there's a whole, like, counter thing to what's popular, and people just automatically... It's like why people hate Call of Duty. It's like, Call of Duty's popular? Oh, well, those games are all fucking shit. I'm sorry, they're not, actually.
Or Fortnite, or Apex, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to make fun of Fortnite because I never played Fortnite, but I'm not going to say that it's a bad game, because I never fucking played it.
Yeah.
It's not for me, I'm not interested in that game.
Yeah.
But for people who like the shit on Call of Duty because they put a new one out every year, that doesn't mean they're shitty games. Like, I mean, that's the only contention I can think of as to where their brain is. They just want to be that person who's, cheerleading for the underdog. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's like, I would want to believe that. I want to believe it's that simple, but that would be a discredit to my friend. And it would be a discredit to people who I think there's something. I wonder if I just don't see what this movie does. I have so much issues with the fact that they sideline the main plot for a meta plot about Star Wars.
They most certainly did.
So I just don't know why people find that compelling. Maybe it's the aspect of it being so different. Maybe just seeing such a different Star Wars is enough for someone to really enjoy it.
There's just too much wrong in this to be liked. And if you like it, that's great. I mean, everybody's going to have their own opinion, and that's fine. You can have your own opinion. Even if it's a wrong opinion, you're entitled to your opinion. Leia flew through space, ladies and gentlemen. She flew through space and got back on a spaceship when she should have died. That should have been the way they let her go.
I like, as weird as that scene was, it's not my least favorite in that movie. It's far from my least favorite in that movie.
That's when I knew something was wrong. I think that might have been, because that happened early on, and I was like, oh, why is this happening?
To take you back to like me watching this movie back in theaters back in 2017, I sat in that theater for about 2 hours and 15 minutes like this, just eyebrows furrowed, not exactly sure what the fuck I was watching. And then that throne room scene happened, and I was like,
It gave you hope. That was there was, like I said earlier, there's a few fucking mental blue ball scenes.
Yep.
And that throne room was one of them.
The biggest one.
We're turning it around, baby. We're going to get something.
In that moment, everything made sense. I'm like, oh, that's why DJ's talking about, like, the good and the bad are not the same thing. I was right there with you. I was like, oh, I get it. I see what you're doing.
This movie could be great.
Connecting. That's why Luke was on the wrong path, because he didn't even realize he was on the light side when he should have been in the middle, and he didn't realize, okay, I get everything makes sense. And then fucking Kylo Ren puts his hand out and he's like, join me on the dark side. I'm like, fuck you, movie. What do you want to be? Pick a lane, bitch. Like, what are you doing? And that's from that point onward, I was just out of love, out of faith, and out of patience for this movie.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect point of how it went back and forth. Like, it's like, oh, this thing's bullshit, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, this might happen. No, it's not gonna happen.
Here's this cool thing.
It was just like trolling people the entire time.
And I don't know how someone could like a troll movie. Movie that just trolls it.
I don't know. I don't like the movie, so I can't tell you why somebody would like the movie. Your friend would have to tell you that, not me.
Yeah.
Because the only other thing I could say about why somebody might like this movie is they're a very casual fan. They don't really follow the story. They don't really know what's going on. They're like, oh, that was a fun movie to watch. Like a popcorn flick. Like, oh, that was a fun movie.
Yeah. I can see
they don't really care about anything else.
And I could see people liking this movie. Yeah, casual fans for sure. And then I can see people liking this movie because I guess they hate those tropes. But I feel like if you hate those tropes, you kind of have to like not like Star Wars.
Exactly. Why would you like Star Wars?
How do you like Star Wars if you don't like all these things that it's shitting on? I don't get it. I mean, it does really cool stuff for like representation if like that's something that you really care about. And like makes a movie good for you. It doesn't for me. I need more than just representation. Like it has like, a lot of female characters like in powerful roles. That's great.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's awesome. But that doesn't make up for all the other stuff that happens in this movie.
But I don't need female roles to be in there or not. I don't care if you're a female or you're not a female. None of that shit mattered. Ray was amazing. Ray
was, yeah.
Holdo's character was trash.
Yeah.
Terrible character, didn't need to be in the film. Could have totally not been in the film and replaced with Admiral Akbar going out on a high note, taking himself out of the game.
That would have been cool.
Could have fucking done that.
Give Admiral
instead
Akbar
of bringing this ass rag in for no reason. It was just nothing against her. It wasn't about her being a woman. It was about a shitty character that you threw in the fucking film.
Here's the issue with Holdo is like they set her up to be a shitty asshole. She's like a total dick to
and then she sacrificed. But that's again what they fuck with you the whole movie, dude. They just 100%. Fuck with you the entire time.
And it's like, why you told me she was an asshole? Why are you making me an asshole for thinking she was an asshole? Like that's what it felt like. She's like, actually, Holdo was right and Poe was wrong. I'm like,
but it's not earned. It doesn't make you feel anything for her.
Because it doesn't tell you she's right until she's right.
Right, and even when she's right, I don't care. I'm like, good.
Even when she's
good,
right,
I don't have to see you in the next movie.
Even when she's right, she's not even right. It doesn't make sense that it would work to maroon your fucking resistance on a planet when you have a ship that can get away. I won't even get into that.
And it has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has to do with her being a shitty character.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like I said earlier, Rey was fucking like my favorite character 100%. In these two movies.
She's awesome. In episode 7, I loved her to death. I thought she was fucking awesome. I couldn't wait to see what they did with her. She still might end up being my favorite character if they can explain who she is.
Even if she's bad, I think I might even love her even more because she's bad.
If she goes bad, that'd be fucking awesome.
I wouldn't fucking care.
But just specifically with Holdo, that like the way they present her character, the way that like the music is negative.
Just like
when
DJ was an annoying character with his stuttering bullshit that didn't need to be in there. Like he just did not need to exist. They could have replaced that character with. Guess what? They had a character called the Master Code Breaker
who looked cool. I was so excited for that.
Used him.
I was so.
It was a crazy concept that they could have just used the guy they fucking introduced for 2 seconds
who Maz
and then don't show you anymore.
Maz Kanata says, "This is the only guy. This is the only guy," and they're like, "We're gonna get this homeless guy instead. Is he fine?" No, he's not fine. Of course, he's not fine. Why would he be? Fucking movie.
Look,
Last Jedi.
This is my last thought I'm going to mention about. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Okay, I have one final question to like segue.
We'll hop into the final question. My closing thoughts on this film is just, I thought episode 2 was the worst movie, and I don't know anymore. 8 is so bad that it might surpass 2 in my mind. I have to go back. I have to critically think about it more, but goddamn, What an awful fucking movie.
100% after watching it again today and having watched episode 2 a few weeks back, this is the worst Star Wars movie for me. Because episode 2, and I said this earlier off podcast, episode 2 is a bad movie in a bad trilogy.
But at least they have like Obi-Wan in it, and
it's got things.
It got stuff.
It has things. But the thing about episode 8 that episode 2 doesn't do, episode 8 ruins the trilogy it's in. It works to like ruin the trilogy that it's in. Whereas episode 2 is just another bad, it's the worst one in a bad trilogy. Whatever. Like, it sucks. It's not a great movie. It's boring to watch, but at least it doesn't fuck up everything around it.
Yeah, I'm sorry those people who actually do like this movie for some ungodly reason. I don't understand where you're coming from.
All right. We've kind of talked about like episode 9 already. My last question before we go into like questions from the community is this trilogy salvageable after what the Last Jedi did?
It's going to be a tough road.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. But they didn't do much with the plot.
Yes.
So I think that it is because they didn't do much with the plot.
I think that is the saving grace of this film is it did dick. It fucking sat on its hands. It didn't progress the plot almost at all. It kills Luke. Which is
horrible the way it went out.
Big,
awful.
Yeah, it's a big bummer. But I think, he's going to come back as a Force Ghost regardless. I think that was always the plan. So I think it's okay. I mean, what it does, the worst thing that it does is it fucks up Luke and his motivations. Like it
fucks up Luke as a character.
Yeah.
It's like this character isn't the same character.
It weakens him. It really fucks him up. So that's something that episode 9 is going to have to contend with. I think that's the biggest issue. I think it's going to have to, or biggest hurdle it's going to have to jump over. But everything else, I think everything else from 7 is mostly intact, and we can still get the trilogy that JJ probably had in mind. And I hope that we do.
And now that we know it, we better see some fucking ships going straight through some other motherfucking ships.
There better be nothing but fucking...
I want to see that shit all day.
I want Holdo maneuver after Holdo maneuver after Holdo maneuver. I don't want to see any ships not hyperspeeding into other ships. I want to see a new meta game of war of galactic conflict completely revolving around Holdo maneuvers, because that is the way to win fights. The only way.
Do you think they'll get super racist with it and just put a bunch of Japanese people in there for like suicide?
Oh my god, I hope not. Jesus Christ, that'd be terrible. A bunch of the Trade Federation guys, those fucking... God, Jesus Christ. Hope not. All right, let's move to questions. Now, I have a question with B-Sides. Is the question section still called Stupid Internet Questions from Stupid Internet Idiots?
I mean, you just said it, so
yes, it is.
Sure.
This is Stupid Internet Questions from Stupid Internet Idiots. Our first Stupid Internet Idiot is at Rick'em Hi, Rick'em His question is, you have 1 hour to spend with Baby Yoda baby. Where do you go and why?
Man, that's a good question.
You think so?
I take Yoda to the Federal Reserve, and I have him force lift the shit out of that building, and I get everything that's buried underground.
Wow. That's a good question.
I'm rich,
or good answer. Wow, I'm really impressed. Did you give that thought before we...
I just came up with it right now.
Drunk Matt's got some gems.
I'm not driving.
Or 2.5 beers, Matt, is a gem. That's where you need to stay at every podcast.
And that's where I'm going. 2.5 beers, man. I'm in my zone right now. Coming up with ideas on the fly.
Yeah, exactly. That was good. 1 hour with Yoda baby. I don't know. I just, I'd probably take him to Star Wars land and just be like, hey, what do you think, bro? Like, do you feel at home? Do you need anything? Whatever Yoda baby wants to do, I want to do with Yoda baby. I just want to hang out with him.
After we get the money from the Federal Reserve,
yeah,
I'll take him to the casino.
That's a good
What's
idea.
that planet called?
Canto Blight.
Canto Blight, here we come. Me and Baby Yoda.
That's our only stupid idiot question from Stupid Idiot Internet Idiots. I fucked up that name. That's our only one. I don't know why we only got one question this week. Maybe it's the name of the segment. Who knows? No one wants to be called a Stupid Internet Idiot. I don't know why. I think it's really funny and cool.
We had better options for names though, Richard.
Questionable answers, but they didn't. The community didn't vote for it, and now they're afraid to ask questions. Come on, community.
We might have to switch it up.
Nut up. No, I don't think so. We'll give it a few more weeks. In closing, Matt, guys, thank you so much for listening. It was great having you. Next week, what are we doing next week? Just regular Nerdthusiast. Oh, no. Next week, we're doing a Thanksgiving podcast.
Yes. We are doing a Thanksgiving podcast about things we are thankful for that are...
video game related is what I thought. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, or maybe just like it's gonna be Thanksgiving related. Look out for it. We're we're not gonna. It's not gonna be about gaming news and stuff because we're recording it.
I don't think ahead on these things. As you could just see.
I
come up with
you're
stuff.
Doing great. You did great with that.
I get my best stuff when I pull it out of my ass.
Most of us do. I feel like I do. I'm the same way. But yeah, so look forward to that. Find us on Twitter. I am at Richard Eiley. RICHARDILIE. I think it'll be over here. And then Matt, you are
at from NJ to CA. It's a number 2.
Yes, absolutely. And then follow us at Nerdthusiast. That is the best place to follow to get updates on what we're doing. You get timestamps for the episodes. We keep you updated. We ask questions or we field questions from the community. Yep. We put up little polls.
Sometimes we give away free stuff occasionally.
Yes, absolutely. So sometimes we'll promote the podcast with a little code for a video game. So follow us. Don't miss that because that's awesome.
Unlike episode 8.
What else did I want to say before I let you guys go? Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Find us on your favorite podcast service.
5-star rating on Apple.
5-star rating on Apple. Whatever you can do to just support us is super awesome. If you want to retweet whenever we put a podcast, follow us on Twitter. That's going to help too.
YouTube, leave comments, likes,
leave comments. No one's talking to us in the comments. We need your comments. Make fun of us. Tell Matt about how wrong he is, about whatever, you want. Be nice to me, obviously.
I'm usually the right one.
Yeah, that's actually true. And that's it. I think that's all the things I needed to plug, right?
Yeah, come back for episode 9, guys. We'll be excited. We're going to watch the movie that night. I think we're recording the next day, I think is the plan.
We will try. We're going to go off schedule probably. We're just going to get it up as soon as possible. That's
we don't know what our schedules are like yet, so hopefully we'll get that out ASAP.
Yeah, look forward to it. I'm excited about it. And take care, guys. May the Force be with you always.
And also with you.
Perfect.
It's a religious thing.
I know. You did it last time. People are going to think you love God.
Weapons are my religion.
Weapons. Hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. I'll leave that. So, 3, 2, 1.
And that's recording too.
And that is... losing my mind. Yes, this.
I love my power glove. It's so bad.